Hey friends, welcome to Genesis chapter 15. We just left off from our last Bible study, going through Genesis chapter 8 through 14, going from the flood all the way to Abram. Okay, and so we are continuing with the story of Abram. Um, he just rescued his brother Lot from Sodom and Gomorrah, beat down a few of those kings. Okay. Um, we have not yet experienced the utter destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah yet. Um, okay, so we're still kind of in that in between period. So after these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward." Okay, so again, here we see that God is our reward, right? Even though Abram is blessed with a lot of these worldly possessions, the Lord is his great reward. Um, and I would say that there is absolutely no doubt in that. But Abram said, "Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus?" Then Abram said, "Look, you have given me no offspring. Indeed, one born in my house is my heir." And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, "This one shall not be your heir, but one who will come from your own body shall be your heir." Then he brought him outside and said, "Look now toward heaven and count the stars if you are able to number them." And he said to him, "So shall your descendants be." And I think this is a beautiful uh, picture of Abram's kind of doubting what God said to him, right? And then we see the Lord um, kind of saying like, "Hey, go and look upwards," and he gives him this mind picture. Like if you can go count those stars, which there's absolutely no way we can do that, right? Um, it's just like trying to count grains of sand or dust, right? Like there's just you have so many that they're just falling through the cracks. I mean, there's absolutely no way you could do it in a lifetime. That's what the Lord is saying that Abram is going to have for descendants. But Abram's like, "Well, I've not even had someone from my own bloodline born born to me." But after the Lord showed him this, it says, "And he believed in the Lord, and he accounted it to him for righteousness." So, what was righteous? Abram putting his faith in the Lord, believing, right? I believe that the word believe, faith, trust, those are all very correlated words. Okay. And if you actually look back at Hebrew words, um, believe versus faith, they're almost interchanged um, for the same Hebrew word. Um, then he said to him, "I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to inherit it." And he said, "Lord God, how shall I know that I will inherit it?" So he said to him, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." Then he brought all these to him and cut them in two, down the middle, and placed each piece opposite the other, but he did not cut the birds in two. And when the vultures came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Now when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, horror and great darkness fell upon it. Then he said to Abram, "Know certainly that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them 400 years. And also the nation whom they serve I will judge. Afterward they shall come out with great possessions. Now as for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried at a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete." And it came to pass, when the sun went down and it was dark, that behold, there appeared a smoking oven and a burning torch that passed between those pieces. On the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram saying, to your descendants I have given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kezanites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Okay, so he's naming all these nations that are going to be of Abram's descendants. Now, this is pretty like vivid picture, right? Abram's like, Lord, how shall I know? And then the Lord gives him a command, right? He follows it, and then all of a sudden this deep sleep comes on Abram, and the Lord's like, this is what's going to happen. And so this is a part that I think if you guys didn't catch certain things, you should read back through this, because we're going to be experiencing the fulfillment of the Lord's word right here in these like 13 chapter or verse 13 through the rest of this chapter for the next long while throughout the Old Testament. Okay, we're gonna see that the descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and I will serve them, and they will afflict them 400 years. Okay, and we're going to see the stories of how that plays out, these people being subject to Egypt for 400 years. And the nation to whom they serve, I will judge, right? So Egypt is going to be judged. They shall come out with great possessions afterwards. Okay, so they're going to be very well off after they finally get out of slavery. And so we're going to see, right, plagues play out. You guys have heard of like plagues of the locusts, plagues of the flies, just all this stuff, right? So I want you guys to really study this well and just think back onto this when Egypt is going through plagues and when Israel gets subject to slavery and all this stuff. Okay. So thank you guys for joining for Genesis chapter 15. Keep following along with us. Things are getting more interesting these days. Well, I mean, not really. I mean, creation's pretty interesting, right? Anyways, everything's interesting. So like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you're enjoying this journey as much as I am. Hope to see you guys continuing to watch these videos, and hope it's a blessing for your life. See you in the next video.